So when I was at the airport, I was doing some prospecting, and a feeling came over me that seemed all too familiar. And it wasn't like, it wasn't that kind of feeling. It was a really sucky feeling that I remember from the very beginning.
How'd you do that?
I see that success is not something you pursue. It is something you are.
So in the very beginning, when you're trying to prospect, you're trying to build up your list of clients, you're trying to get on stages and trying to do all that. In the very beginning, you feel a lot of pain. I mean, a whole lot of pain. And when you're essentially looking for events, you feel kind of lost. And I know a lot of people, in fact, a guy from the Speak Pro Academy, he sent me an email saying like, hey man, I've been doing this for weeks, but nothing's really happening. And I said, well, you got to do it longer than a couple weeks. But there's this, I understood it because there's this feeling of, I feel like nothing's happening. And when you're trying to get a client, when you're trying to get an event, you're doing all this work. Nothing's really happening. You're wondering if what you're doing is wrong. You're like, am I doing this right or what? And there's like this inner doubt, this pain that you literally feel when you're prospecting. And this is why a lot of people don't do it, because they get bored doing it. So they're like, okay, let me go to Google, let me type this in. Oh, okay. And so you get bored doing it, and your emotions, your emotions take over in terms of the boredom type of emotions. And after 2 weeks of doing the same thing over and over, not getting any real results, you start to get really bored, and then there's this self-doubt going on. And it's what I call the pain of prospecting. The pain of prospecting is why people quit. They just don't expect it. They don't expect like, oh man, I've been doing this for a while and nothing's really coming in. And so what I tell a lot of guys to do is to keep track of your numbers. When people aren't getting business, I guarantee if I were to look at the level of activity they engaged in, if I were to look at how many people they contacted, I guarantee that would be the problem. The problem is always, it's like 99% there, it's the fact that they contacted 10 people, they got bored, and then they just decided not to do it. And so it's what I call the pain of prospecting. And you got to think in terms of prospecting as a state of mind. So it's not just, oh, I'm doing the same thing over and I'm bored. No, it's more a state of mind where you get into this mode, and the mode is like a game, like you're playing a game, like, okay, how can I find the best events as fast as possible? And really, oh, it's a numbers game. Oh, I got to do this, and I got to get as many events. And it's like a game that you're playing inside of your own head. And in fact, you could even play this game if you have another friend who does the same stuff as you. You could even tell the friend, like, all right, let's see who can get the most amount of events as fast as possible, or within 2 months, and then you guys just go at it. You're literally playing a game, and I guarantee that will increase your urgency. And so prospecting is a state of mind, and when you have this painful feeling of like, oh man, this is so boring, oh man, I don't really know what to do. And when you have that state of mind, you need to just start doing it and start treating it like a game. It's very similar to when you wake up and you don't really feel like going to the gym, but once you're at the gym, everything is good to go. That's the same with prospecting. When at the beginning, you're like, oh, I don't really feel like doing this. But after you do a couple of them, you're like, okay, hey, what was I thinking? I didn't feel like doing it at first. Oh, there's no problem at all right now. And you're just prospecting all day, every day. There's nothing more important than just constant outreach. And so you got to overcome this pain of prospecting, because you have to keep talking to people, keep going out there, keep sending emails, make calls if you like making calls. The thing is, when you're doing your Facebook Live videos, when you're creating content videos, the thing is, nobody knows who you are. You're creating these videos, nobody knows you. You can have the greatest message in the world, but nobody knows you. So you got to engage in constant outreach to where you're constantly telling people who you are. You're constantly reminding them, hey, I'm Benji Bruce,